Eavesdropping. I was meeting on the call.
Good morning. Good morning. Actually, I don't know if you guys need the microphone to hear me, but we'll give it a go. Good morning. Thank you all for coming. We appreciate you joining us this morning. I'm Amber Soria, the Executive Director of Mavericks Community Foundation. Just a reminder, this is an introduction session to Coastside Gives, so the content in this session is really geared towards new nonprofits who maybe have not participated in Coastside Gives before, or new point people who may be leading a Coastside Gives campaign for the first time. So that's the information we're going to cover today. We are going to go through the slide presentation. This is being recorded, and the slide deck and the recording will be posted online at coastsidegives.org in the nonprofit toolkit. So you're welcome to take notes. We'll leave plenty of time for questions, but just know that you will also be able to reference the slides and the recording from the website in the future. And that's the case with any of our presentations. We always post our slide decks and information under the nonprofit toolkit at coastsidegives.org so that you or any colleagues can access them at any time. So thank you again for joining us. Just a brief overview of what we're going to go through today. We're going to do quick introductions. We'll go through what Coastside Gives is. Sometimes people need a little bit of a clearer explanation of what we mean when we say an online day of giving. We'll go through some of the Giving Day basics, so how the campaign works, what some of the milestones are, the benchmarks for Coastside Gives between now, when registration is open, and when Gives Day actually happens on May 1st. We will talk about Mighty Cause. That is the platform, the online platform that our technology platform partner, that we work with. We'll go through questions, answers, and next steps. So just a little bit about Mavericks Community Foundation. So Mavericks Community Foundation is the organization that organizes and facilitates Coastside Gives. So what we are is a community foundation. We serve the San Mateo County coast between Montera and Pescadero. A little bit about us is, our mission and core values here. We are committed to the coastside and making it a better place for all. We view ourselves as enterprising, so we like to approach things with new ideas and a mindset of what's possible within our community. We are inclusive. We believe that the diversity within our community is one of our biggest strengths. And accountability. We try and do everything we can with integrity and as much transparency as possible. And collaboration. We are always working on shared goals and working to collaborate more with nonprofits like all of you and nonprofits throughout the year, not just during the Coastside Gives season. So a brief introduction to our team. So Kelly Hoffman Davis is our board president. She's at the back of the room. Also at the back of the room is Mary Oldham, who's our board vice president, and Diane Brosen, who's our board secretary. Lisa Grissom is our treasurer. Carrie Lavelle is one of our board members, along with Brianne Phillips and Mike Alifano. And over here we have Kurt Harris, who's our project coordinator, and he will be your primary contact during Coastside Gives. So, again, meet Kurt. So some of you may recognize Kurt. This is Kurt's second year with us. He will be the primary contact when you have questions related to Coastside Gives. So the way to reach him is coordinator@maverickscommunityfoundation.org. Again, all of this information will be in the slide deck posted online, but so any questions you have about registration, about any of the steps or the process connected to Coastside Gives, you're always welcome to contact Kurt. And he will get back to you and help troubleshoot or work through whatever questions or items you have that you need assistance with. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Kurt so he can walk you through sort of the rest of this, the basics of Coastside Gives and what you can expect if you participate in the campaign.
Thank you, Amber. I'm also looking for answers, so if you guys have answers, feel free to reach out to me. That email is also on the website as well, so feel free to go there. Also ideas. If you guys have any ideas on how to make Coastside Gives better, how to collaborate better, just feel free to reach out. I love to share ideas and just brainstorm about how to make this a success. We've got a big year this year, big plans. It's our 10th anniversary, so we've got some stuff in the bag here to hopefully make that an extra special session or season. Looking forward to collaborating with you all in terms of making this as successful as possible for all of you, and then I think most importantly, the Coastside in general. So what is Coastside Gives? It's you guys, obviously, nonprofits and charities that are coming and hopefully being successful in terms of raising awareness and funds to support your causes. It's your donors and your sponsors. And so we're going to get into that a little bit later, and also into some of the kickoff sessions on how we're going to do outreach to donors, and then hopefully you guys can help outreach with the sponsors as well. What is it? It's a single day. This year it's the first Thursday of every May. This year it happens to be May 1st. And it's a 24-hour online day of giving. And it's actually a month of giving. What we do is we open it up April 1st for what we call early giving. So as you start to reach out to your donors, start to market your causes, start to solicit fundraising, they are able to give on the site as well. But it culminates in a 24-hour, one day. That's where all our focus is. But we do allow early giving so that if your donors are ready to give, they can go online onto coastsidegives.org and give, as I like to vote, give early and often, right? So that's important. And also, let me take a step back here. I love interactive sessions. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to raise your hand, shout out. I'll be glad to answer them. If you guys have any answers, feel free to shout those out as well. Don't think I'm up here just talking to you. I'd love to get your feedback. Right. A look back. So 10 years, as I mentioned. Maverick Community Foundation was founded in 2015. First year raised $235,000. That's a lot of money. Great success. But then as you see going forward, it's increased greater and greater and greater. Save for something called COVID that sort of interrupted the upward tick of it. But last year, record $1.6 million for Coastside Charities. Just amazing. Everyone deserves, obviously all the board members, the founders who started this, just amazing efforts. Just great job. All you guys, all the donors, all the sponsors. Just amazing. We were hoping for 1.2, somewhere in that range. 1.6. So just incredible. Our goal for 2025. What do you guys think it is? 2. Very good. 2 million. Why 2 million? It's got to be. It's numerology. 10 years. That will mean $10 million raised for Coastside Charities over 10 years. It's got to happen. We've got to manifest it, will it to be. Of course, we have to do a little bit more than that. We've got to work, and we'll get into that as well. But yeah, it's definitely a stretch goal. Going from just a couple of years ago, or three years ago, just barely over 1 to 2 million. But I think we can do it. I think there's a lot of worthy causes out here. There's a lot of donors available. There's a lot of sponsors available. And so our job here is to work with you guys to help maximize your return on your efforts through Coastside Gives. How does Give Days work? Well, work collectively. And there's 2 levels to working collectively. Working collectively within your organization. Yeah, you all as point people, you're obviously leading it, and that's going to be the main interface between Coastside Gives. But make sure you're using your resources throughout your organization, your friends, lean on them, your board members, anyone you can get. Important to help you work through and be successful. Additionally, collectively as a group in here, don't feel like you're competing against each other for a fixed dollar amount. It's a growing pie. The rising tide raises all ships. Work together to support each other, and everyone's going to be successful. And we've got some good examples of that, and we can get into that in some of the tips and tricks and things like that, of 2 organizations coming together to reach a campaign, to create a campaign where they both benefit from that campaign. Engage your sponsors, community partners, engage those guys early. We're going to talk a little bit about matching funds and setting up matching. Matching is an extremely powerful tool for you all to use to help maximize your donations. Donors will see, hey, I've got $1 to spend, I've got $10 to spend. This organization has matching available. It could double, triple, quadruple that amount. I feel much better about giving that money. In fact, I've got $1 to spend, maybe I'm going to give 10 because that means they're going to give $40 if it's quadruple, those types of things. And in order to you guys to do that, great to have sponsors. Reach out to some of your larger donors and say, hey, would you sponsor us in terms of matching grants? So that helps us. And then donors, as it gets closer and closer to Gives Day, like I said, we open up early giving April 1st. So as you engage your donors, let them know that starting April 1st, they can actually start to give. And then let them know to tell their friends about it. And they can tell their friends about it, and so forth. And that's how you spread awareness and increase your donor circles. So this is a great opportunity. There's a lot of marketing and effort that go in getting Coastside Gives out there. We've got, we'll get into it, but we've got this giving guide that I see people literally walking around with downtown. And it's a way to expose yourself to donors that may have never heard of your organization. Advertising opportunities in this giving guide. Also, we work with KHMB Radio during Gives Day. Social media. Here's a chance for you guys to piggyback on top of all the social media that Mavericks Community Foundation is providing with your own social media and really grow that. And as you all know, that's the way, that's one of, that's probably the most growth opportunity in terms of new donors and the new money coming in is through social media. So, if you're not comfortable using social media, reach out to me. I can help you guys with that as well. And bonus dollars. There's opportunities to do additional prizes. Mavericks Community Foundation has sponsors that will then provide prize money for certain achievements, we'll call them, and there'll be a specific session on the prizes as well, so that, again, all your efforts can be amplified by the addition of these prizes. Any questions? You guys are kind of quiet. Okay.
Well, Kurt.
Yeah.
So the prize money, those are for achievements on the day of, correct?
It varies. There's some that are throughout the campaign, and there's some the day of. Most of them are concentrated day of, absolutely.
Yeah. Which leads me to the idea of early giving and the incentive for us to pursue early giving more than setting up people for the day of. If the prizes are focused on the day of achievements.
Yeah, they are definitely focused there, but they are spread across the entire event.
Okay.
So, and there'll be more to come.
Okay.
Every year, the prizes change. Now, some of them obviously are tried and true and repeat them. We do repeat them, but every year we try to introduce something new. And so, and in fact, this year, it'll be more mid-March or maybe the third week in, I think March 18th will be the prize announcements. And so that actually gives you a little bit more than we've had in the past where it's been the end of March, a little close to early giving start, but it gives you a little bit more time to prepare and prepare a strategy in terms of getting those prizes. So a successful giving day is spread out over many months. And so, I think I can't emphasize enough, start planning now. Making a plan now will make execution much, much easier going forward. Primarily because one, you can get the resources you need, get the help you need, reach out to, again, your board members, even your big donors, like I said, for the matches and so forth. And so plan early and start executing now, really. Well, maybe February, or maybe after the kickoff. But start thinking about it now for sure, and setting up your plan. Because again, what you want to do is you want to get those sponsors for the matches, probably in the February timeframe. You want to start your strategies in March so you can start executing in the early giving time in April.
So Kirk, I'm
Yeah.
just going to chime in here really quick since early giving was brought up. So while some of the prizes are focused closer to the day of, or things that happen on the day of, on Gives Day, early giving is an extremely important part of our campaign. So hundreds of thousands of dollars are raised during early giving, which is really important when we're talking about making it to, $1.6 million or $2 million and maximizing exposure and giving for any organization. So, so I just wanted to chime in. We have over the years played with a little bit about what that early giving window should be, right? And we work with giving days all over the state of California and all over the country. And everybody has a little bit of a different approach to when they open early giving. And for us, what we've found is that sweet spot seems to be 1 month before Gives Day. So we've played with it over the years where maybe it was only 2 weeks. There are some giving days that do their early giving literally only like a week before their giving day, but for us in our community and what we've seen over the years, that 1 month seems to kind of be the sweet spot. And early giving is pretty important in terms of exposure and reminding donors that giving is coming, right? That Gives Day is coming. Often what happens is you may have donors who are going to give during early giving, and then they're going to also get caught up in the frenzy of giving day when you are, so close to maybe your event goal that they'll give again or give a little bit more. So we do really encourage engaging in early giving with your donors. Also what happens is some people just forget, right? You've done all your messaging all over the place, it's plastered everywhere, and some people just sort of never quite click with what is Gives Day, and so having that lead in and having that early giving window allows people to do it when they have time, when they remember if they're at work all day on Gives Day, they can give ahead of time and know that they've done what they wanted to do to support your organization and your efforts. So it is a really important part of our campaign.
Yeah, Amber, I raised my hand as being guilty of giving early and then giving on the day of. And like I said earlier, also, as you're doing your outreach, your social media, or if you're doing mailers or an in-person event, if you've got a donor who's willing to donate at that point, you don't want to say, hey, wait until Gives Day. You want to say, okay, go ahead. Here's the site. You can give early. So, all right, the dates. So, registration closes 31st. So, how many people have registered their organization? Wait, how many people haven't registered their organization? All right, so you have until the 31st. It's great to see that, by the way. I'm joking. And actually, how many people are brand new organizations to Coastside Gives? Right, well, welcome. Okay. And then how many people are new
New or new?
An existing organization and new.
Yeah.
Okay, great, welcome as well. So next meeting, mandatory kickoff meeting, February 4th. Same bat time, same bat channel here, 10 a.m. The Giving Guide content deadline. So when you register, you'll go through the registration process. For those who haven't, there'll be an acknowledgement and there'll be a link to enter your Giving Guide content. Now we have mixed up the Giving Guide a little bit this year. We've made it more flexible so that you're able to really get the based on feedback from the last couple of years. We don't have as stringent of categories. It's more open-ended. There'll still be some basic framework and structure, but it's really up to you guys to provide the content for that. And the deadline is February 18th. We will be, for those who are returning, we'll be a little bit more restrictive in terms of being able to revise that content. We're trying to keep the cost down. We didn't increase the price, even though our costs will increase. And the way we're sort of making it up is hopefully reducing the number of revisions. So by 18th, we're hoping to have really final content from you guys. You guys will still have a proof, but that'll be more for layout issues versus content changes. Then a tips and tricks panel meeting. This is where we have a panel of veterans up here who have run very successful campaigns. We switch it up every year to get different perspectives. We try to get a small, medium, and large to make sure that we have a broad spectrum. But they're going to talk about what's worked for them, what hasn't worked, maybe what they're going to try this year that's new, all that type of stuff. So it's a very, very good meeting, especially for folks who are new to understand. Let's get the lay of the land in terms of how to run a successful Coastside Gives campaign. Talked about the prize meeting, March 8th, and that's also here, 10 a.m. The tips and tricks meeting. The prize meeting, again, 10 a.m., but March 18th here. That's where you find out all the prize money that's going to be available and what you have to do to earn that. We'll also be handing out some materials to you all so you can help promote Coastside Gives, so lawn signs, those types of things. Mentioned early giving opens April 1st. Gives Day is May 1st, and then we're going to have, as we traditionally do, a wrap party on May 2nd. Time and place to be determined.
I just wanted to speak up real quick. One of the things that we noticed when we looked at the data last year was people who didn't attend meetings had less successful campaigns. And so coming to the meetings and being able to ask questions and hear the information firsthand, we know that there are conflicts and we no longer make all the meetings mandatory, but as many of the meetings that you can come to, especially the prize meetings, so that you really understand the nuances of how they work, is really vital to the success of your campaign.
And I'm going to repeat that in microphone in case anyone is going to be watching this later on the website. That the data from last year, there's a definite correlation to attending the meetings in person and the amount of donations and the success of the overall campaign. Tips for success. As the same point person attend all Coastside Gives meetings, it's important. I know other people have sort of traded off, but that trade-off, often there's a lot that gets lost in translation to trade-off. So if you could designate a point person or a couple people to attend every single meeting, it makes it a lot smoother. If you're one of the returning organizations, be sure to update your information, especially your admin information. We use that admin information to send out emails and announcements, so it's key that we've got updated information, so again, nothing gets lost in email. I already mentioned start planning early. It makes execution a lot easier. Next one, set a realistic campaign goal. We all want $5 million. But I think a lot of our donors will see through that if that happens, right? So what you want to do is set something that's realistic and something that is achievable. You can always go low. My recommendation is go a little bit lower. You can always reset it. If it looks like you're tracking, guess what? You can always bump it up and continue to bump it up. Another tip is to try to have something for people to focus on, something for them to rally around, a project or a specific event, that type of thing. Really makes it a lot more tangible for them to be able to donate. Pick and choose the elements that are right for you. So Mighty Cause and the platform And the overall program, there's a lot of different things you can take advantage of. Understand that some of you are small organizations. Don't think you have to take advantage of them all. Mavericks Community Foundation, we actually test and learn every year. We try new things, we see what works, throw away what doesn't work. I recommend doing the same thing. If there's something you want to try new this year, go ahead and try it and see if it works or it doesn't work. See if maybe, there's things that we tweak all the time as well. Don't have to do everything. Just focus on the things that you think will be most effective. Come around next year, see what was effective, throw away those things that aren't, and then maybe try something else. Wear your gear. We're going to have banners, lawn signs, everything. As it gets closer to early giving, and then certainly through the month of April, there's going to be more and more awareness, and it's important for you guys to promote that as well as part of your constituents. Communicate with your owners early and often so they donate early and often. And I'll again re-emphasize, communicate with your sponsors now so you can set up your program. And then collaborate with other Coastside nonprofits. I talked about that earlier. It helps, especially if you're somebody new, latch on to somebody. We're a small community. I'm sure you know people who are working with other organizations. Latch on to them, learn, grow, use their knowledge to help your organization grow, and advertise in the Giving Guide. Speaking of which.
Kurt,
Yeah.
when is the gear going to be available for purchase?
Probably the last meeting, the prize meeting.
Yeah, the prize meeting is when we have them here, and then
Yeah.
there will be an email that goes out ahead of time for pre-sales.
Yeah. Giving Guide, as I mentioned. In fact, if folks want to pass around a few samples. Here, I'll take some to the other side as well. Sorry. No one wants to sit up at the front row. So if I can pass those around. So this is mailed to every Coastside household. I know Half Moon Bay and probably El Granada and Montera businesses, Pescadero businesses also have them available. My wife keeps a huge stack in her Pilates studio that she amazingly goes through almost every week. It's a great way for people just to leaf through and get familiar with an organization. You might be a small organization, might be new, people aren't as aware of some of the bigger organizations on the coast. As they flip through this, they're able to read about who you are, what you do, what you want to do, what your goal is. There's a QR code there, and they have their phone, they can go ahead and donate right then and there. It's also bilingual, so if you flip it over, you'll see that there's a Spanish version. It's not quite as robust in Spanish, but it is there. And I've actually kept copies of this prior to me working with Mavericks Community Foundation. I've kept copies of it so that I can go back and refer to organizations that I might want to donate to. So I think maybe I'm crazy, but some people do keep it so they understand, what they can contribute to.
So what we can say about the Giving Guide is every year after the event, we are asked by different businesses or different points in the community to have extra copies that they keep on hand throughout the year. So we did see those requests increase last year, especially with the Coastside Gives group, the Half Moon Bay review going to online only. So this is an actual hard printed copy that does get circulated. We have realtors who ask for extra copies to keep on hand at their open houses, as the Chamber of Commerce. So it is a printed item that lives beyond the Coastside Gives campaign.
Yeah, it'd be great to be in a dentist's office next to the highlights. All right, I'm sorry, I do have to have a slide on the C-word compliance. So this started last year, it's continuing this year, but by law, in order to participate in Coastside Gives, you as a nonprofit must be in good standing with the IRS, the California Franchise Tax Board, and the California Department of Justice. There's a whole page on what that means and how to check your status. When you register, we will be checking the status, If everything's good, we'll just go ahead and approve the registration, and you'll be fine. If not, then we'll reach out if there's any issues. We will also have to continue to check the status throughout the event. And so we will continually be doing that. And so if anything crops up where you suddenly become out of compliance or not in good standing, then we will notify you, and you will have to work with one or more of those organizations so we can get back in compliance. If you're out of compliance during early giving or on Gives Day, unfortunately that means we have to shut you down. You will not be able to donate. So it's something that you want to stay on top of and make sure that all the paperwork's in, everything's been reviewed, and you stay in compliance. Okay. Enough of that. All right, Mighty Cause. So I want to get into a little bit about the Mighty Cause platform, and especially for those people who are new, how you can make brand it, fill full of content, and make it basically your own platform for raising funds. First and foremost, register. So there's a big orange register button. Part of the orange register button, there's eligibility and compliance. So these links are right there on the home page. So you can take a look, make sure you're compliant. If you don't make sure you're compliant, I'm going to make sure you're compliant. But that register button, please allow 1 to 2 business days, especially in the next couple of weeks. There's going to be a lot of registrations going on for me to process them all. And then, like I said, I'll go through, make sure you're in compliance, and I'll approve it. You'll get an email, congratulations, and then you'll be able to start updating your organization information. So when you log into Mighty Cause, what you'll see is your organization page. Initially, if you're returning, you'll see very briefly your regular page, and then it will switch to this where it has a dashboard with links. It has a to-do list here that you can go through, but here is where you can really customize your entire page. That means your landing page, your organization's page, logo, fonts, all that stuff. You can set up fundraisers, and even peer-to-peer fundraisers. You can access all your reports. So for those folks who are returning, you can have there's year-over-year reports that are available. You can customize your checkout settings, and then also I mentioned earlier about updating your admin information. Go through that. So we'll go through that real quickly here. Animated here, organization profile. There's a banner page. Oops. No. Wrong button. It's not playing. Full screen. Okay, I guess we'll do it this way. There's a banner page here you can customize, logos, obviously your name. All this is customizable, right? Oh, there we go. Just press forward. Okay. You can choose the colors. And whatever branding you need, so you can go in and do that. Page metrics, so showing what is on. So on your home page here, there'll be a little section here which will show what you want it to show, whether that's what your goal is, how much you've raised, what you want to include in those dollar amounts, all that good stuff. So it's fairly customizable in terms of what you show and what you want to present to the donors. And then there's below that sort of top area with the header and your name and your goals, it allows you to tell your story. And you can have multiple sections here. So if you have different campaigns, you can create a section for each campaign. But really, with text, images, you can really get your word out in terms of what you want to do. What I would recommend is starting with your giving guide content, or if you already have content up here, making sure they match. So you're giving the same message regardless of whether it's in the guide, offline or online. You're stating the same message to your donor base or potential donors. You can add media, so all sorts of images. You can set up your social network to automatically post to the page. So as you're posting to Instagram, I was going to say TikTok, but maybe not TikTok. You can then share them, Facebook certainly, you can then share them and post them with your organization page. So it's another way to intertwine your messaging across different platforms into one place. Another thing you can customize is the checkout flow. You can choose what data to collect on your donors. So obviously you want their name, address, etc., bank accounts, credit cards. But you know, you can create your questionnaire, capture a bunch of demographic information, what might be helpful to you. You can customize these quick donation buttons, you know, 10, 100 million, 100 million, those types of things. And so it gives you the ability to customize on checkout. And then post-checkout customization. So what are you going to say in terms of your thank yous, reaching out to the donors, all that stuff. So again, you can add media, customize the message, customize any of the elements. You know, it's a basic, you know, text, like a Word document or a Google Doc that you can basically customize that email that gets sent out. And then I mentioned reports. So recurring donations or retention reports, there's a lot of robust reports. Yes?
I'm sorry, just a question regarding post-checkout. As I recall, Maverick Foundation does send an official donation letter acknowledging their donation.
Yeah, it's actually sent through this Mighty Cause is processing all the donations as of last year due to the California requirements. It'll be sent from the Mighty Cause Foundation, which is their version of the nonprofit foundation. So to the donor.
So our customization of the post-checkout wouldn't have to include, you know, just, I'm thinking in my case, probably just a thank you.
A thank you, yes, exactly, exactly. It doesn't have to be the official tax deduction document, whatever that's called, IRS something.
Donation receipt.
So there's a lot of data here. And one of the things I wanted to emphasize with these reports is for those returning organizations, look at year over year, see how you performed, do some analysis in terms of, you know, what did I do last year? Again, what was successful? What wasn't, you know, did I have a great year? Hopefully everyone had a great year last year. And so how can I then mine these donors who donated, maybe take a look at when they donated, you know, hey, 25% of my donors were early, 50% of my donors were early. Let's really emphasize that in my campaigns. So there's a lot of information here that you could take a look at and mine to be able to help inform your strategies for this year, and especially the year-over-year activity. Yes.
There's offline donations
Yeah.
in there. How does the fees work? Like, if you enter an offline donation, are we paying fees on those? And I'm thinking mostly like matches. Sometimes your employer will match what you give, right? And
Yeah.
if we enter that, are we assessed a fee by?
Well, oftentimes, unfortunately, for the donor, the company matches, those come in well after the event, right?
Yeah.
So those wouldn't be entered in as part of the system. But any sort of checks or cash entered in the system, there will be a fee associated with them, yes. Yeah. We wish we could capture those, the company matcher ones, because then we'd probably have 2 million a lot
Or any type of offline donations.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That donors choose.
Yes, yep.
Wait, I'm sorry, I don't know if I heard you. Can you talk about the fees that are held for donations? And I'm not familiar with the offline concept. Is that not through the system?
Yeah, so there's two types of donations. Obviously, the online donation where the person clicks the donate button
Right.
and that they will go through, enter the credit card, etc. And those there's a charge fee about 6.5%, if I recall correctly, to do that. And that includes the credit card fee, that includes a platform fee as well, to be able to support that. The second piece is the offline donation, which are the cash, checks, those types of things that you can enter into the system. Those are also, because they're entered in the system and they're part of this, those are also charged a fee. Is it free?
So we will, yeah. So we will, at the kickoff meeting, we will go more extensively into the fee structure. There are fees associated with donating through Coastside Gives. Sorry. So as Kurt said, online donation is charged a 6.5% fee. We will share the breakdown of what that includes.
It's on the website.
It's on the website now, but of course we'll go over it in more detail at the kickoff meeting on February 4th. What we can say is last year, 82% of donors covered the fees. So at checkout, every donor is asked if they would like to cover the fees, the donation fees, so that 100% of their donation goes to the organization. And last year, 82% of donors did do that. So by and large, the majority of fees for online donations get covered by donors. What I can also tell you is that's an extremely high threshold. We have one of the highest donor fee coverage thresholds in the state of California and maybe even in the country. So our donors here seem to be very generous and very understanding of what the fees are and take that extra step to allow their nonprofits to have 100% of their donations. So offline donations, the truth is we really want as many donations as possible funneled through the online platform. There's a lot of reasons for that. The online donations are the ones that will be counted towards some of your prize grant opportunities, so that's one reason to funnel donations through that way. But we do understand that sometimes you just have a donor who just wants to write a check or who wants to just hand you cash, right? And we don't want to turn donations away, but by and large, we want to funnel donations through the online platform. But there is a mechanism to record then those offline donations. We definitely want to capture that information because it helps paint a fuller picture of the total amount of donations brought in to your organization and to the overall campaign. So when we go through at the kickoff meeting, there will also be some more information about how you specifically enter those offline donations so that we are capturing that full picture of all the donations that are coming through for the event.
Okay. So I think I've talked through the retention reports and everything. So settings, so there's general settings here. Key thing here is, again, reiterate, add and remove the admins, update any address information or things like that. You can also customize your URL. So Mighty Cause creates a URL based on your registration, but if you want to rebrand that something different, you can go ahead and rebrand that URL, and that way it makes it a little bit easier for your donors as you share it through social media and things like that to understand that. Okay? Nonprofit resources. So again, here's the home page. You'll see it's a little different than last year. The menu items are up at the top. The resources are the eligibility, the compliance. There's a timeline there that restates the timeline. The key here is the toolkit. That's where there are resources for you to be able to, one, understand Mighty Cause and the site, so the support on how to do all this stuff that we just went through. Two, we've got the recordings, not just from this year, but also from previous years as well up there. And three, there's some handbooks available up there, both written by Mighty Cause as well as by Maverick Community Foundation, that'll help you just really center yourself around how to develop a good strategy for a successful Coastside Gives. So I highly recommend going and taking a look at the toolkit. There's a lot of really good resources there if you're just up and coming or starting new. So in terms of support, Mighty Cause has their support team. Maverick Community Foundation has me. Feel free to reach out. I'm happy to help at any time, and hopefully allow you to be very, very successful. Any questions, comments, concerns? answers. Yes.
What's the minimum donation amount?
10? Well, with cash, anything.
Yeah.
But $10 on the site. Anything else? Yeah.
Do you guys have forms with American Legion? And we had people interested in donating, and with their company matching, and couldn't figure out what forms. Does a company typically supply a form to
Yeah,
the
so
employee for that?
most, at least my experience, most companies will have be working with a website, like Benevity, I believe, is one, or it might be actually, they might have bought them, Do Good is another, where they're working with that site, the service provider, to then do the matching. You know, these are more larger corporations, obviously. I'm not sure about the smaller ones, but and what they have there is they have a listing of all nonprofits, and the company can go in. They can either say we're open to all nonprofits, anything that's a nonprofit, we'll go ahead and match those funds, or they can pick and choose which ones that they'll match for. Specifically, if there's specific causes they don't want to support, they can eliminate those, vice versa. Or they can have different matching amounts for different types of causes. So my former company, Love St. Jude, great organization, they would match that 4 times versus, you know, they allowed donations to anyone, but if you donate to St. Jude, they'd up the matching amount. So it's usually a piece of software that corporation licenses to help support that matching.
So it's coming, the employee would have to.
The employee would have to reach out to their HR partner in their corporation. Yeah.
So usually what happens with, or often what happens with some of those company matches is the donor might donate to you, and then they take their receipt and they have to turn it in via their company's platform to say, here's here's the documentation that I made this donation, and then the company would initiate a match. Sometimes the company, depending on what type of platform they're using, they want the employee to initiate their donation through their platform. So they might go through their platform, donate to you, and then the company would match it. It's just very dependent on the company itself and how they have their donation matching system set up.
So one thing I'll note in terms of donation matching is oftentimes what companies who match will do is they will issue the match to the organization that is issuing your tax receipt. In this case, that is Mavericks, or not Mavericks, it is Mightycause, a foundation. So we don't know that that's where you want it. So you may, for those donors, want to issue your own tax receipt so that the match can come to you as opposed to going to Mightycause Foundation.
So what we can say is if you come across a donor who wants to initiate a company match and you need some help talking that through how it would work on our system or how that works here, or how they would make the donation to you via Coastside Gives, we can absolutely help talk you through that. But typically, the employee will have to initiate the match with their employer. Other questions?
Anything else?
Where did you say we can find the toolkit for?
On Coastside Gives.
Okay,
Just go to coastsidegives.com.
okay,
You'll see up at the top here, nonprofit resources, 4th one down.
thank you.
And this presentation will be up there later today.
So thank you all for coming. This can be a lot of information, and so I just want to reiterate what Kurt said. If your organization is brand new to Coastside Gives, or if you are a new leader for your organization in Coastside Gives, what we try and do is throughout the course of the campaign is provide a whole menu of options that you guys can utilize in order to get your messaging out and amplify your donations and your messaging. However, as Kurt said, There is no expectation that every organization use absolutely every tool we present to you, right? We really do want you to be thoughtful about what your event goal could be, and make it a realistic one for your donation, or your donors and your organization and your needs. And then think about the tools that feel manageable and useful to you and implement those. So as you are going through the process, if you have questions about adding in additional tools or different things, Kurt's always happy to talk that through. Our team is more than happy to talk through with an organization sort of what setting their campaign goal could look like. We do that often for different organizations, chatting about what their goals are for the year, kind of what they think they're going to focus on, and then helping think about what that campaign goal amount might be. But just please know that there are a lot of options. We want to make it flexible for folks to participate and utilize the tools that make the most sense to them and that will resonate most with their donors. And as we continue through the process, we are here to support, and Kurt is happy, as he said, to field questions and walk you through any part of the process. So you might go through today and then on Friday go to register your organization and be like, I forgot absolutely everything about how I'm supposed to register. You can email Kurt and he will help you make sure that you get the information you need. Any questions? Well, thank you. Oh, yes.
Sorry. Just as you were talking about like multiple resources, you don't have to use them all. I just wondered, since this will be my first time on Coastside Gives, what social media channels have you found to be the most effective? Since there's so many of them.
So there are. So Instagram and Facebook have been the most utilized historically. And Instagram and Facebook also have been the social media channels that have been tied to some of our incentive prizes in past years. YouTube can also be another one, but really it's about what you feel might resonate with your donors. So sometimes what happens is organizations come to participate in Coastside Gives and they don't have a social media presence. And that's okay. Part of what we want to do is encourage organizations to try something new. So to try having to start putting together a social media presence, because it can be another powerful tool for messaging that is clearly not going away within our community and within our world, at least not at this point. So it really would be a little bit of thought process, although it may be your first campaign, there may be some historical data within your organization around which platforms your donors look at or utilize for social media. Typically it has been Facebook and Instagram have been the highest, but there's flexibility for that. The nice thing about Facebook and Instagram is it's easy to cross-post. So if you're putting a post on Instagram, you can just click the little button to also share it to Facebook, and then you're hitting both platforms with one post, which is nice, especially if you have only one person or limited time to manage what an organization's social media feed might look like.
And I was just going to say, attending the tips and tricks will really give you some ideas of what other organizations are doing. Some of them do direct mail, some do online newsletters, some do in-person events. So, you kind of have to look at your organization and decide what is the best fit for it.
Yeah, and your organization and your donor base,
Yeah.
right? So that's key. Where do you think your donor base is? Where are they going to be at? So, yeah, I wouldn't recommend planning around TikTok. I personally think that Nextdoor, it was underutilized. Unfortunately, they've made changes in the last 2 or 3 months where it has not been good, and so it's less local and more advertising, so I think you're going to get washed out, unfortunately. Back a year ago, I would have said, yeah, explore that, test and learn. That's the key here. I mentioned earlier. Just see what works, what doesn't work. Throw away what doesn't work. luckily with social media, you should be able to get feedback pretty quick in terms of likes and things like that. The engagement is going to give you the feedback, well, should I keep doing this? You know, and you can test different messages very easily. Okay, what's getting the most likes? So you can tact according to the feedback on social media. So that's one of the great things about this. So maybe the great thing, the only great thing now about that is you can test and learn and tact about messaging and see what gets that level of engagement with the organization. All right, anything else? Thank you all for coming out. I greatly appreciate it.